And good morning, Alex Ansary here. It is December 28th, 2016. So I've taken some time off YouTube and I'm actually getting back to it. This podcast is going to be centered around whether or not YouTube is still worth it, considering the demonetization taking place not only to alternative media content creators, but to also viral YouTubers as well. So I've given this a lot of thought, and it's actually something that directly impacts my own life. I myself have been asking myself to do more YouTube or to not do more YouTube. That is the question. I have been taking care of my finances not only through my YouTube channel, but by posting news to an associate's website whose money comes from his YouTube channel. And that's been going on a few years. I am assuming that may be coming to a close in the next year. I'm thinking about my own YouTube channel as a full-time endeavor for myself. And I have actually taken a fair amount of time away from the channel to do some other things. In just the last week, I also had an issue with the internet modem. I do live off the grid in Southwest Colorado, so there's an issue with snow, and hopefully he'll be able to repair it today, so these videos will resume. But I've given this a lot of thought because Google has been the subject of controversy. So has YouTube with their demonetization of videos that have used certain keywords considered hot. I went through it. Anything that I posted last year with Bundy or PSYOPs or federal informant in the title, Burns, Oregon, anything regarding that subject matter was demonetized. Of course, somebody could think that someone is in their channel messing with them, angry at them, censoring them, and it really could simply be because they're using an algorithm at that moment in time where those combination of keywords are flagged. And that has been my experience. Now the problem is a little bit more widespread. It's happening to a whole lot of people, and it's reportedly happening across the board, not just conspiracy theorists. So it's not just a conspiracy, guys, against us conspiracy theorists. It's allegedly and reportedly widespread. Now, having said that, let me begin. I would step back from comparing your own situation to someone else's situation for a number of factors, let alone fate. And I can see how certain things are getting more complicated for others that have been doing really well for some time. It's like they're going down. Going down, down. And they're running away from the pain. It's like a slippery slope, and some people are in a panic. And then there are other people, they seem to be doing a little bit better. Not a lot better, but a little bit better. And I can see how I'm doing a little bit better. Not a lot better, but a little bit better. And sometimes it's just from a few videos that just happen to be doing well at a particular moment to where, for example, people are, looking up what the hell creepy Joe Biden's doing. And, oh, what do you know? You find my video. All of a sudden, people get real hot for seeing drones getting shot out of the sky. Oh, look at this. Random video I uploaded from a few years ago. So I can see how just random videos like almost take on a life of their own. They almost become animated, and all of a sudden they end up on a website and they're being watched. And all of a sudden, there's a few extra $100 coming in on average per month because of, say, a few videos. Some of us have seen a taste of that success, but only a taste. And we really haven't given it our all. And I would say that even though Google takes out 60%, and even though we have this demonetization, because we have some people on the uptick, and even though I've had a lot of videos demonetized, I'm seeing growth. So no, I haven't made my goal of making a certain amount per month. I'm still, back in the, the thick of it. But could I potentially break through onto the other side to where it's something a little bit more self-sustaining as long as this machine is alive. Even though I myself have actually predicted a Google YouTube doomsday. That's right, ultimate China cyber attack. And that video is a few years old, and I do think that we should be prepared for this infrastructure at one point to encounter some problems. Am I predicting that that is going to happen tomorrow? And the answer is no. I also will have you know that I have different views than other people. There are a lot of conspiracies about Google, about it being pro-left or about it being solely pro-right. And I can see it working both sides of the aisle very easily. And by the way, you've heard about this whole fake news thing. Very few of those websites in that top 200 have actually been demonetized. So it could be argued that they've been rewarded for being labeled Russian propaganda. They may be labeled the enemy. They may, find themselves facing judgment, but are they actually facing actual persecution? Now, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I've also gotten a link today that Obama has signed some NDAA extension allocating billions to fight propaganda. And so the world that we're going into tomorrow is a little bit more, for those of us that are controversial, it's getting scary. Regardless of that, how long have we been dealing with these threats of the internet going down? And yes, this is all very serious with this sign over the internet of this last year. Honestly, I'm just going to be honest about it, and then I'm going to get back to the main subject. I think that we're going to be seeing some major problems in a few years. I am going to put my money and chips behind it not being in 2017. There are still things that are in motion, and there's a reason why they also don't just take out the internet. And the internet also provides its sense of bread and circus and distraction. Sure, you can turn off your TV and you can turn on to YouTube and Google all day long. Here, just put on the goggles and just don't go anywhere. Here's a little device. Just suck your food into there you go. I mean, just imagine what would happen if all those gamers on YouTube, oh, the gamers, as if this is really about conspiracy on YouTube. Gaming apparently is a huge industry with Google AdSense, the gaming channels. Just imagine all those gamers have one day having to take off their headsets and go, dude, what's going on? The power's out. YouTube's not working. So even yours truly has been amongst the rest of them, with concerns about cyber attacks and things of that nature. I'm telling you to be prepared. Back up your channel. I did. We should move forward now with what we've got. We should not look a gift horse in the mouth or that which we should not bite the hand that informs us or pays us back for entertaining or informing others. If there's an issue with bots attacking channels using certain keywords, well, gee, maybe it's time to work harder on the content and get around those keywords. Maybe it's time, let's take on this challenge to be smarter than the machines. Yes, Google and the robot apocalypse, they may one day come for our blood, cannibalize that juice to power the machines themselves. I'm being serious as well as humorous. There actually is a report that I've read about robots that can literally, yes, it's there, folks, but we don't have to stay stuck on it. The point is, there is an endless amount of Google conspiracies, as crazy as it is. Think about the people making money off Google AdSense, off the Google conspiracies. Now, if you want a conspiracy on top of a conspiracy, I just gave you one. Talk about distracting you from some of the real meat and stuff we should be looking at, and just kind of this looping, my hand's a conspiracy, this desk is a conspiracy. When you see Google paying people off that are making money off the fake news and the Google, it's all about Google the conspiracy, they're coming to eat us and our lunch and our little dog Toto too. No, we're not in Kansas any longer, but have we not used Google to inform others about things, or have we not been informed ourselves by Google? I know the whole thing is kind of scary. I mean, I've been right there with the rest of Catherine Albright that, no, the microchip, surveillance society, oh, the beast, but yet here we are trying to use technology for the greater good to impact the hive mind. And so, as I've said in other podcasts, we should use technology to impact the hive mind in positive ways. YouTube is one way to do that. We can reach someone with a message or a prayer or a song or a tone, and you can spend your consciousness and time focusing on how artificial your speakers are, or actually contemplate how beautiful that sound is coming out of that speakers that was made by a musician thousands of miles away that just so happened to use the YouTube or some other platform to share that message and song with you. And that is beautiful. And that is good. Furthermore, we live in a world where the concept of working for yourself has evolved. It's not just working for a corporation doing tech work, which is considered regular, homework, tech work. It's the language that most people understand. You try to explain to people the concept of servicing someone's website with regular up-to-date news, 10 to 15 articles, like I do for my associate's website, as long as it's been profitable and good for him. And that's a service that he has desired for his audience, and I've been able to fulfill that. I also know that there are periods where it is a little bit more challenging than other periods to make a living doing that. And sometimes politics can get in the way. So I am grateful that at least for a period in time, I was able to earn additional income working for myself and not so much from home, because there was a period in which I didn't have a home. In order to establish a home and get the property that I have now, having regular income, working for someone else's website for 2+ years was the very thing that made that possible. While YouTube AdSense was a smaller amount, to the tune of, we'll just keep it simple, but a few $100s for a while. It's improved slightly since then, but not much. And so I'm looking to change that, especially if the other form of revenue goes away. And with donations being flatlined, then I am going to go all the way. And so, not only am I discussing what I've gone through in my own mind as I've weighed this, okay, we have YouTube demonetization, but we also have, on the other hand, YouTube, for some of us, being on the uptick, on the uphill trajectory, instead of the downhill trajectory. And so, the wisdom is realizing there's our experience, and then there's the experience of others. And in my heart, I really am not a Russian propagandist. In fact, I don't even see them as a lesser of the evils. And so the last thing that I'm concerned about, by the way, is being misidentified as being pro-Putin. I happen to have faced a lot of criticism for being critical of Russia as well as the United States, because a lot of people are doing good cop, bad cop. Putin good, United States bad. And this is something that I've actually been warning the world about. This is actual evidence of the New World Order being built. The staged man destruction of the U.S. and the artificial rise of China and Russia. So within that niche of research that some people label conspiracy theory, it seems that the position that I have is very different than the consensus reality. So it could be argued that I don't have any competition, that I have my own niche. And then I also have my own niche, which is like the solar flare human consciousness connection. And there's a couple other niches within niches. So, for me, I have a lot of original content and ideas to go with. And I don't feel that I've completely even shared all that I have to share on those topics on YouTube. And I think that this is the year in which I should. Because I desire more than ever to break outside this mold of what's called alternative media. If I'm going to be considered any box right now, I'm a YouTube content creator. But what is that? That is as limited as you make it, because the reality is it's that one video that reaches the world, or that reaches that 50,000 or 100,000. I did videos on relationships, why don't chase the women of today's day and age, and a few other videos during a very difficult time in my life. So not only was YouTube therapeutic, but the emotion that I shared, the intensity, and the truth, the spirit of truth that I brought to those videos that emanated onto the screen. I mean, how those people know that I was in a teardrop camper when I actually did those videos, plugged in using lights that I had in that teardrop camper, so no one even knew that I was. It just looked like I was in a studio to some people. And that video did better than any of my other previous videos on politics, or what some people call conspiracies. I've noticed that when I speak from the heart, that I have that kind of success on YouTube. And so that's going to be my focus as I consider those core topics. And that would be my advice to others. Despite these challenges that we face with certain keywords being hot, well, let's be smarter than the machine. If the content is good and we enjoy doing what we're doing, then things should move forward. And we shouldn't become entitled, that we're worth a certain amount, that, we should be making a certain amount per video. We should actually be grateful that we're not being bombed back to the Stone Age. So I think there's also a certain amount of humility, being able to work for less. It's just like being able to go and work minimum wage at um, a job somewhere in town, grocery store or something like that. Of course, I rather do this after working most of my life for other people. I'm now 36, even though I look younger in the videos in some ways. Although I do think that I do appear my age. The receding hairline is there, folks. What are you talking about? And so this is really the time with so much going on in the world and so much to talk about and so much knowledge. We're not boxed in to just politics. And I would say, like, the mainstream world of conspiracy theory is very diluted. If you're going to specialize in some of these topics, stick with some of the core topics and go deep into the conversation in a way in which others don't, to where they're hopping around from subject to subject. One of the things that I'm going to do is work on cultivating and sharing those various aspects of myself and the different styles of delivery, and on a consistent basis be releasing those different styles of reporting or dialogue. For example, this is a podcast. This is audio only. And they're usually going longer than 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Sometimes they're going on for an hour or two. Then there's the other videos you're going to see from me, which are like 3 minutes in length. And what are those about? Updating you with the, up-to-date, very important breaking news regarding geopolitics. And I do think that a conflict's coming with China. So I am going to keep you updated over the course of the next few years on news and information regarding that. For example, did you know that China's first aircraft carrier is involved in drills patrolling the South China Sea? And this is a sign of other things to come, as we see Donald Trump getting ready for Inauguration Day. And then the real Donald Trump will come out before the world, even if many of these world leaders are friends behind the scenes. There's the world that we're shown, and then there's the reality behind the scenes. So, you're not going to have a whole lot of people looking in that particular direction. And so, as far as I'm concerned, as someone that's been talking about this stuff for years and warned you about Trump and a war with China, to see those, it's like watching a car crash. Like, well, those cars are going to crash right there. It's not a crystal ball. They're it's not a psychic reading. The cars are coming at each other. It's physics, dude. Whoa, I know, that's some good weed, man. It's physics. Physics, yeah, man, physics, yeah. So you're going to see some videos from me in, say, the next 24 hours regarding China's aircraft carrier in the South China Sea, because these are things that in stories and levels of reporting and areas, specialty areas of reporting, that are unique to Alex Ansary, and areas that other people don't find to be very interesting when they're busy crafting up stories about a false Islamic invasion, fake stories, fake threats promising Sharia law in your neighborhood. These people with families, it's like they have no soul. Some of them that are operating on YouTube and the internet. And oh, they're making a living for themselves and their family. Yeah, well, when you do it, demonizing others without actually warning people about a real invasion, you done fucked up, and you're not being moral. And so we can actually shift it from going from fake news, clickbait, sensationalism to empowerment, truthful clickbait, you know, educating people and realizing that when we do good for others, good comes back to us, and we should be fair. We shouldn't be greedy. Sometimes we have to be patient for good to come back to us. I'll tell you what, it's difficult when there's no donations that come in. When I say I got a vehicle lined up and this would really help, but I know that by being patient, things work themselves out at their own time and schedule. And when donations do come in that are able to help me or of a significant amount, or I noticed, or the people will donate together within a few days, and it itself will amount to something. It's so random, it's spiritual, it's so synchronistic. So on the donation level, I just allow the universe to share with me what it will, and I appreciate. But when it comes to YouTube, it really is like having your own business. And that's what makes the haters angry, because they're of the old world psychology that we should have to work at the factories with them or for them. And some of these men are very dominant, and they're very angry at the idea of independence in general, which is why they develop obsessions with off-grid channels or people that talk about independence, because they literally have something psycho going on within their actual brain lobal structure, to where they want to have me under them or someone under them. So they, as haters with a hybrid fan side, so they're half fan, half hater, or they may like and hate at the same time, or go back and forth, thumb up, thumb down, or create multiple accounts. See, this is mental illness. And as I've talked about in other videos, how Facebook's replaced normal human relationships between men and women, it's also turned some of these men into not very manly at all in how they develop obsessions with other men. It becomes homoerotic. And I don't want to sound homophobic in any way, but there is a homoerotic nature to the male hater, the man that obsesses on other men instead of actually working on his own life. There's a homoerotic kind of angle to it that I think we should be wary of. So, I do think that it's worth it still to put our energy into YouTube, and that would be my advice for anyone up and coming. But I would also caution and say that there's a lot of strange people on YouTube that may want to distract the YouTube content creator. They may become very obsessed with their content in a positive or negative way, and somehow through, whether they're aware of it or not, I mean, I'm not going to get into my supernatural ideas on archons here, but you know where I'm going with this. Whether they know it or not, some people almost want to play that role of distracting the content creator from making quality videos. And there's a number of ways in which people have done it with me. There's also ways in which some people will donate under the premises that they get to change the content of the channel and demand live Skype sessions, to almost reprogram the YouTuber into a whole new way of thinking. In some cases, very paranoid, very delusional, and very convinced that everyone's being gang stalked at all times, at all hours. Which is a preposterous idea. I mean, if you're talking supernatural and something going on, you have my ear. When I've seen people with deep-seated mental illness attempt to tell me how the world really works in a super hyper paranoid, I should be afraid for my life because they're coming to get me. After all these years have passed and I'm still around, I see the types of people that were the most delusional. And other people that have donated with an interest in being abusive in some way. Steve Hoka is another. And then, of course, there are kind people. And so with regards to donations, the universe will bring you the things at the moment that you need them the most. But they won't necessarily bring you the things that you want. And you may think that you need that certain thing. I may think that I need that vehicle right now. But the reality is I have everything that I need. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. It may take more time to build up an audience, for example, to get a basic level of support to fundraise for small projects. Um, I can definitely see how the focus more so with YouTube needs to be on generating more views and kind of accepting the fact that we're in a day and age, even though it's not an economic collapse, where a lot of people don't feel that this content is worth a couple cups of coffee per month for whatever reason. They've made that decision that it's worth watching for free, but not worth a few cups of coffee per month, which is $5 per month to kick in that much. And so we kind of have to be a little bit accepting and humble and understand what we're dealing with and promote ourselves on other mediums where we put more of ourselves and our work into, say, a video on demand. Most of the people may not want to watch it, but say a few people, if you put a lot of work into it, especially for those of you that only prefer to make, like, say, documentary films, and the work that you do is more a specialty than what I'm doing. And, if that's the case, you definitely deserve 99 cents or $2 if you made a documentary film or something that has a lot of effort. And so you can use YouTube to market that or market that ebook. Ultimately, YouTube should be used to promote another business. As far as myself, I'm not selling other products at this time. It could be argued that I should be doing more with my YouTube channel, but, you know, I, like the rest of them, have predicted the decline of YouTube at some point. And the reality is it still is alive, and I don't think it's going down next year, even though the threat of cyber attacks still exists. So we should use this medium to inform others, regardless of what is going on with the YouTube demonetization. And some of us are going to have to work harder on YouTube to make up for a shortfall in donations that aren't coming, or going through periods in time where people just believe that no, all the content should be free all the time and isn't worth contributing anything. And so when we live in that climate, survival is survival. Do we want to eat oatmeal all day long, or do we want to also have a little bit of meat or something? We want to take a vacation for once in our life. You know what? I want to take a vacation for once in my life. I want to take what I would call almost my first real vacation, to where it's not about me surviving. It's about me going somewhere and having a good time and enjoying the fruits of my labor, and knowing that all of the content that I have created was based in truth, not branded as truth with this fake programming. Oh, this is truth broadcasting, truth news, and just being a barrage of bullshit. But, I actually want to go on vacation, literally this February 25th, 2017. And if no donations are going to come in, then it's all going to come from this channel. Then I have to bust my ass to inform you upon story after story after story after story after story after story. Live, breathe, sleep this channel for the next month or so to generate just a few extra $100. You know, there are worse ways to make a living. And it could be argued that it's so much easier to go work at McDonald's, to where you don't have to think and you get paid twice as much per hour than you would, say, the hours you put into YouTube versus what you get out, unless you're already at like massive subscribers. With what I've got to bust my ass for less than minimum wage to make it, if you do the math. Is it worth it? And do I believe that if I busted my ass every day for a month, that I would see results that would continue to go upward, to where it's not less than minimum wage per hour, to where that doubles, to where things are coming back? I believe that it will. I believe that it will. So you're going to see a lot more content from me. And I look forward to being able to enjoy myself in the future in a few months after some very focused work here on this channel. I'm going to be addressing some of the things taking place in the world. I'm going to be creating some podcasts like this, where I go on and on for a period in time. There's also going to be a few videos. So I will be back with more. And it's good to be back. Alex Answer here, signing off December 28th, 2016.